Darling, know the world is yours. I've been up chasing the sunsets just to see if there's more. 'Cause it's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried love. Ooh, ooh,
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. This is our episode before Christmas, and I'm so excited. We're all getting Christmas ready. Are you getting Christmas ready, or are you already ready? Tell me you got all your gifts already.
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay, cool. So you are not the last minute kind of girl. You always are like on top of it, on top of that Christmas shopping.
Well, I'm trying to be. I'm up in Canada, so I need to get my parcels out. You know, I've got many American friends now, so I needed to get my parcels out at least last week. And I'm on Vancouver Island, so a lot of the mail hasn't really left the island yet. They're that backlogged. So
is it snowing over there?
Where I am, we're wet and in the rain, in the clouds. So, but the rest of the province, they're getting heavy snowfall right now. So. We're pretty good. How about you? Is your weather wet, dry?
We did get some rain, but I mean, we're in California. We're all babies. The moment it gets like a little bit cold, the scarves come out. We don't know how to. You guys would make fun of us.
No. We're envious of you because you got the palm trees.
So tell us what you've been up to. How has this year been for you with your career?
Actually, it's been a good 2020 for me. Previously, you know, Sparkle, I was in lumber, and then I entered Maxim CoverGirl contest, and I did not win. A really pretty young girl did win, and but I was in the finals, and ever since then, I've been on a total different trajectory. I thought I'd be in lumber, but now I'm in entertainment. So I've been co-hosting on a few shows. Particularly Brian Sebastian's movie reviews and more, and then, you know, co-hosting at various other shows, doing a lot of writing, you know, and yeah, just trying to keep the mind busy. But I did put on a little bit of COVID weight, so I'm happy.
We all did.
Do the fitness.
Tell me how grueling that competition was for Maxim, because I did the Miss Health and Fitness competition, and that was kind of similar. And like you, I was always very much in the top, was in the top 1%, and then I didn't get it. I mean, it's a lot. People just don't even know what you go through going through that, huh?
Well, actually, I admire what you did, and I don't know where you placed, but for the fact that you were giving your earnings away to an ill child was everything, you know. And you know, when I did the Maxim contest, I was never online. You could never find any photos of me socially. So I thought, well, I'm going to put a nice photo in there. Maybe one day someone, if they Google me, they'll find a nice photo. And so I went into the contest. Actually, a photographer had seen my Facebook profile photo, and he said that I should enter the contest. And being Canadian, usually it's for Americans only. So it was an international contest. So I thought, okay, I'll enter, but I didn't tell anybody. You know, because I was still hoping to do lumber and things like that. And so I didn't tell anybody for about 3-4 weeks. And then it just kept gaining momentum. But, you know, I didn't think I filled out the questionnaire correctly because my answers were so different. You know, like they said, what would you do with the $25,000 if you won it? And I said, I donate it all, because I'm like, I can't believe my photos online. And so I said, well, I would donate it all. And I said, I'd give it, you know, to the Gary Sinise Foundation, and I would also donate.
That's a really good cause. I love the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Yeah, well, and it's true, you know, like he he says what he does, and he does what he says. And so I said I was going to give half to him, and I was going to give half to veterinarian clinics that do pro bono work for injured animals. And so it's funny because I was getting the votes, you know, and the men would make nice comments, and then, but the women would say, I really like that you're going to donate the money to charity and you're not going to put the money towards a photo shoot in Miami. And I'm like, and I didn't even think of that, because at first when I saw my answers and I saw other people's answers, I thought, oh, I'm getting kicked out right away. You know? But yeah, no, I was really, I got a lot of respect for you when I saw that you did that. And I hope that young boy is doing better. But you know,
he is. We're all still praying for him, so pray for him.
Yeah, no, of course. You know, it's a terrible thing to see a child suffer, and you know, I respect you greatly for you know, doing that. You know, you saw the bigger picture, so you know.
So did you. So that's really interesting. We both were going to donate to charities. I love that.
Well, you know, I thought it was reward enough that they would even consider me in the contest. And then I thought it was reward enough that people were liking me. So I
know exactly how you feel. I really had no expectations going into it. I was so shocked that I lasted that long. I was like, wow, you know, top 1%. That made me feel good. I was like, I'm good.
How far did you get?
It was top 1%.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But that was just national. You did international. So I like, and you know, that was the unfortunate part because international people couldn't vote. They couldn't buy votes internationally or something. So that kind of like, I had a lot of friends in Europe that wanted to, and they couldn't actually do that. So how was it internationally?
Well, they could vote, you know, they could not buy votes, I don't think, because I had some people that I made friends with in Germany and just some other countries, you know, and they said, we're voting every day, Sherry, but we're not allowed to buy votes. And so, yeah, and then I had a couple friends that bought votes, and I felt really bad. And so, I didn't do it for people to spend their hard
money.
Money.
That always made me feel a little bit like.
Yeah. So now, you know, when I've got really great things happening for me, it's really not to me, you know, I wouldn't be here without these people lifting me forward. So I have to do good and respect them so that they're not like, oh God, you know. So I just have to do good because I wouldn't be here without them. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your career so far and how 2020 has been one of the best years for you.
Yeah. Aside from, you know, the negatives of people getting ill or passing on, I've connected with a lot of wonderful people. So I'm eager for our borders to open so I can come down there. You know, I want to meet you. And, you know, I have a co-host on our show. Her name's Terry Marie, and you two are soul sisters. You really are. You know, she's our fitness girl. She's the one we go to when we have shows with talking about health and fitness. And, yeah, she's an honest, true grit kind of girl. And, you know, I just adore her. So I think you two would hit it off.
I love that. How long has your show been going on?
Our show, it's been good. I've been on it for about 6 months, but I think it's been on for several years. And funny story, how I got on the show is I was at this red carpet Oscar event, and I was walking down the red carpet, and I kept seeing this blonde girl going. She just kept looking back at me, and I'm like, oh God, she's probably going to ask me a really hard question. I'm going to sound like a dummy. And she kept doing that. And so then I get up to her, and she goes, I thought you were Tawny Kitty-Ann. And you know, that's the beautiful lady from the White Snake, Here I Go Again rock video.
Oh, okay, really?
And I said, are you serious? I said, I'm buying you a drink later. And so then everything was lovely. And then at the end of the night, we ran into each other, and we've been best friends ever since. And she knew Brian Sebastian, and he was looking for some lumber for his Dreamweaver ranch. And she goes, oh, call Sherry. So we talked on the phone a few times, and I was trying to source him out some lumber. And then after a while, she goes, well, Brian, is she going to come on the show? And he goes, why? And he goes, well, you talked to her on video. And he goes, no. And she goes, talk to her on video. I think you're going to like her. And so he brought me on, and we did one show, and I get along with the girls, and we had a fun time. And I think you would have a great time on the show. You know, it's we're not, you know, anti-men. You know what I mean? We're not like that. We all carry our own unique thing, and we have fun. We try to bring out the best in the guest, and we hope, you know, with the diversity of us girls, that if one isn't particularly keen on me, they might be more keen on another girl. You know, and so Brian, he's a genius for thinking that way, you know, with the rotating seats. So we have a lot of fun, and we've got some great events coming up in the new year. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. You should come with us.
So tell us where we can see the show. I'd love to come with you guys.
Well, it's usually on YouTube, but a month ago, our platform expanded, and we're now on iHeart. We're on Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, Apple TV, and Comcast. And the great Dean Piper, he came on our show and he enjoyed it, and we're on all his platforms. So
we can only listen to you on iHeart and Spotify?
You can see us. So you can see us all on those additional platforms. Beyond.
Oh, okay. So it's the
So
network, not just okay.
Yeah, so movie reviews and more. And you can search first YouTube if that's easier, but we're all on all those additional.
Because you don't have the face for radio, girl, just like your friends.
I was really nervous for this interview. Really. And of course, you know, you have the bad hair day when you're going in front of a pretty lady and you're like, oh, geez, really?
Oh, and then especially like during now, it's funny because this is the only moments we get to dress up.
I know. Well, that's what I was saying, because like all our shows are from here up, and I go, I have not a lot of pants and shoes. So I'm like, my wardrobe's 80% shirt and necklaces and jewelry. So I'm like, oh, I better start getting some bottom clothes. So that's okay.
I know. I heard that people were starting to do Zoom meetings like only dressed from like the waist up.
Yeah. Wonder what everybody wears for the waist down during their meeting.
I heard everyone got fired for that. Okay, so you have this show going on. What did you do before? Because you've been dabbling in modeling, acting, hosting, like pretty much for a while, right? All of this.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing a little bit here and then nothing for a week, and then a little bit here, and then all of a sudden, boom! I've been blessed to be busy every day. You know, like sometimes it's 2-3 shows a day. You know,
really, that's demanding.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You know, I try to, you know, respect the guest, respect the audience by doing as much homework and try and figure out what they would want to learn about. So, but you know, my hardest thing, and I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or a Nelson thing, but it's hard to be interviewed. I love to interview people. It's a hard time talking.
I understand what you mean, girl, because I go on shows too, and then I'm always like, it's very hard to switch roles and be in that scene.
Yeah, no, but I think if you came on our show, I think, like I said, you and Terry and us girls, I think, you know, it'd be good. And actually, there's another show I think you'd be really good at. Have you heard a show called Dining Divas?
I have. Have you been doing stuff with them?
No, but a friend of mine, Ronnie James, out of Hawaii and Comcast, he wants to broaden it out. And can I submit your name? I'd love to, because
of course.
You're smart, amazing. You're beautiful, you know, and yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. So
when did you start getting into all of this and like hosting, acting, modeling? I assume you started like when you were young, because
no.
You were really young. No. You didn't? You didn't start when you were like a teenager?
No. Well, actually, my mom submitted my photo into a contest. I forgot all about this. I can't even remember the magazine. Maybe it was like Teen, and I got in it, and I got so much attention in a small town. I was really like embarrassed, you know. And then everything has happened for me. It's been a year, actually. I think the Maxim contest ended about now, a year ago, and then as soon as the new year started, I was coming down to the States until about February when the borders closed, and then. Yeah, so I've been just doing things behind the scenes, writing and Zooming. And
so what were you doing before then? What was like your focus before the Maxim contest, before you got launched into this whole new world?
Yeah, I was 4th generation in lumber. So my family, we owned a sawmill, and we were 40 miles north of the Montana border. So I did the sales, I did the shipping and the exporting and things like that. So I was always, I did the sales for the company. And I remember I went to a convention, probably, I think in that October 2019, I think it was about October 2018, and usually everything's on the phone, no Zoom, right? 2 years ago. And so I
I
remember,
know, right?
yeah, and I went to a convention, and I was with my good friend Chuck from Lignum Forest Products, and he introduced me to some people, and these guys at a table go, "You're Sherry Nelson?" Then I don't know. I'm like, do we all look like this? Like, so it was kind of funny. But no, lumber and the stock market and business was always my main focus. So it's kind of new being in front of the camera.
So you're really good at the stock market too? Was that
I
part of
love
the
it.
lumber business? Your family got into that?
Yeah, no, I quite enjoy it. I really like playing the stock market, seeing what drives it, I guess on a small scale, perhaps that's kind of what a show like ours is like, like we have a guest on and you think, well, what's going to, like a stock, what's going to drive, what's going to give this value, so you got to think my research, I got to look at what's the audience going to hold on to. And at the same time, out of respect to the guest, what am I going to talk about with him that he wants to come back, or she doesn't feel like I just wasted 30 minutes.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's kind of like adding value to an asset, because like you always say, without a guest, without the audience, you have no show. So
That's such an interesting take on it. I've never.
I
I love that. No, I'm putting about the stock market and that, like you said, adding value and using terms like that. I'm like, that's absolutely true. I mean, I thought of it not in those terms. And so that's actually, you could teach like a class almost on stocks, like reversing it.
But like with COVID, my goodness, I don't think these Zoom meetings and these podcasts would have boomed like they did. So there's hundreds of them. So you just got to make sure that you have something that's unique,
And interesting.
Yeah, and I hope something positive, because I don't care much to watch a show where somebody's getting yelled at or attacked for their opinions. So I
right. No, very true. We want something positive, but meaty, like something exciting, but we could talk about. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So the lumber business, how is it during COVID? Was it affected at all?
Well, I've been out of it, but just before I left, we in 2018 we had the greatest run up in lumber history in value, and because we were still recovering from the U.S. housing collapse of '08. But then we had the greatest collapse in lumber history, because all of a sudden people have been sitting back, not buying. And the mills took downtime and were, shut down. And then all of a sudden everyone jumped in and no one could keep up to the order. So it was just a complete volatile market.
No.
But I watch right now the lumber futures board, and it's been pretty volatile. Usually lumber futures is a $10 premium, and I see it's been trading at $20, $30. So yeah, it's an active market, but if you're driving in a car and you're bored and you see a rail line, and if you see a lot of lumber rolling on a train, that's a sign of a healthy economy. So if you see that, or trucks rolling with lumber, housing is the foundation of a healthy economy. So, if you see a lot of home construction going on, that's a good thing.
So one of the stuff that you're writing, because you're doing a lot of writing, are you writing your memoirs about the lumber?
No. I've written 2 screenplays. One's a comedy, and one is kind of historical. So I hope.
So you're taking a break from lumber right now.
Yeah. Sawdust is in the veins, so I might end up back there. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to do as much as I can and learn as much as I can. So yeah, I'm writing, and I hope one day that would be the goal, is to have my work up on the screen.
I totally see that happening for you. So you said you were 4th generation of lumbers. Who's running everything now in the lumber business?
Oh, my family, they sold the company. So,
okay.
Yeah, my dad's retired, and I'm proud of him, and he sold it on his terms. And yeah, I'm just really happy for him. There's a lot of larger sawmills up in British Columbia and Canada, and so it was sometimes a little difficult for the smaller ones to compete. And then in our country, you had, sorry, I don't want to turn off your audience.
Oh, no, I like this.
We had higher costs like stumpage and regulations and things, and it was just becoming a grind and difficult. So, I was proud of him. He got a good, I think he sold well, and it's now COVID hit him, the poor guy. So, you'd think he'd be allowed to buy.
Yeah, I know.
So hopefully 2021, he can, be retired and enjoy it.
Enjoy it a little bit. I imagine your like autobiography being from lumber to Maxim. I just had that title.
Yeah, no, it's a fluke, but I'm glad I did it. So, if people think, should I do it? Don't tell anyone. Because if you don't do good, no one will know. So just do it.
Oh, it's everywhere. You can't hide that you've done it.
Yeah, no, just do it and be good. I just like you, like my goodness, like I'll remember you forever for you wanting to help a little boy. So, I think that was wonderful.
And you know what's funny? That little boy's mom, she did the Maxim contest too, but I think she did it, she might have done it your year. I think she had said she did it last year. I didn't even know about it. And I was like her friend, but I didn't even know that I was supposed to vote for her. I would have had I known, but I don't think I knew about it till after the fact, or wasn't following it closely. So.
Yeah, oh, good for her. Yeah, no, it's just good to say you did it. You know what I mean? Because one day you might look back and go, I should have. Don't be that.
Well, and it launched so much for you too.
Yeah. So, I'm really happy that I did take the chance, because, I'd love to be able to operate and work in the United States. And when the contest was going on, I was actually in the United States interviewing for jobs. And the closer I was getting to the final, more and more people were knowing about it. And every time I'd walk into an office to talk about trading, I thought, oh, geez, I hope no one recognizes me. You know what I mean? Because, I didn't want anyone to think I don't know what. Like, I'm proud of what I did, but I wanted them to know my knowledge before my appearance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. Yeah, my bikini picture was all over the 6 o'clock news, so it was like.
Really? Good. No.
Yeah. Well, I come from a small town too, so they make a big deal out of things,
No, that's good. That's good.
So, where you live in Canada now, where is the different places that you live? Was it always Canada, you just came to the U.S. sometimes, or did you ever live in the U.S. for a little bit?
No, I'm always in Canada, so always in British Columbia. So I'm a British Columbia girl. I quite enjoy it. I went to Bali, Indonesia. I've been there twice, and it's lovely. And so, if I can't enter the United States, in mid-January, I might just head on back out there. You know what I mean? So I miss the sun and the palm trees and you'd love it, and you're so beautiful. The best place for a photo shoot. So.
Oh no, well that's great. So you've lived all over like British Columbia.
For the most part in the southeast corner. Right now, I'm on Vancouver Island.
And do you do a lot of acting there? Because I know that you film a lot of Lifetime movies and that area. Do you have an agent in British Columbia?
No agent. But yeah, Hallmark does a lot of shows here. Like right here, actually. I don't know if you see. It's called Chesapeake Shores. They film that.
Oh yeah. And it's just, you guys have such a beautiful backdrop. It's like
it is actually. And you know what? Palm trees can grow here. That's the goal. Always my goal, having a palm tree, and I know I've made it.
And you guys get the black squirrels, huh?
I saw those in New York. But
I saw those in Niagara Falls. I don't know a little bit further, but that's what I was like, yeah.
That's over on the east, so I'm over on the west. So I'm actually straight north.
So you're closer to me.
Yeah, straight north. Right. Yeah, just I'm out just across from Seattle essentially, but I'm on the island.
Well, it's such a breath of fresh air. I mean, Canadians have always been really nice, like everyone I've ever met. So it's just like, do you notice that when you come to the U.S. where they're like, wow, you're so nice, you're from Canada. You get a lot of that love from being in Canada.
I do, but I think you guys are so fun. Like, to me, my dad used to always say, Americans are like ducks. Everything just washes right off their back, So you guys are fun, easygoing. And, like when I was, talking to so many Americans and selling lumber, you guys were fun. And yeah, I always like American. I love your food.
Well, we gotta follow you, whatever you're doing. So we're gonna follow your YouTube channel. So give us the title. How many YouTube channels do you have?
None. But movie reviews it more. You can. That's the main show I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then your Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter, XO Sherry, XO, and it's old spelling Sherry, SHERRY, and Facebook Sherry Nelson.
Awesome. So then if people want to book you, they have to direct message you, right? You don't have an agent.
Yeah. Or they could contact Eileen Shapiro or Jimmy Starr. So
they're kind of like your studio
they're down,
agency.
yeah, they're down in the United States, so they're probably easier to get a hold of for things.
Awesome. Well, we got to definitely make sure that we get together in the flesh when you come here. You better not come to the U.S. without saying hi to me.
Yes, and we got to have you on movie reviews. You'd be a wonderful.
I would love that. What was your favorite movie review, by the way, that you did?
Well, I haven't reviewed movies because sometimes we can't get them up here right now. But no, I've reviewed a lot of guests, like geez, the musicians, you know, Kenny Aronoff, he was fun. Actually yesterday do you remember the band Glass Tiger?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to interview the Canadian band. Yeah, Alan Frew, the lead singer. So I got to talk to him yesterday, and I was so excited. And I posted it on Facebook, and I got so many likes and comments. And
I'm gonna watch it. I gotta watch it now.
Yeah. So no, I was so excited. I was so excited. He was my first Canadian, so it was really fun to talk to him.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for coming on my show.
No, thank you for having me. We'll see you on ours.
Silent city.
Welcome back to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Matt. Matt, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Great. This video, I can't get over this. And it's like you actually filmed this during COVID along with a few others. How was it? Tell us about this experience.
It was a totally unique experience filming this video, and we kind of had to come up with a lot of creative solutions for how to do this and still kind of be in a quarantine situation. When we shot this, it was actually back in April in New York City, so it was kind of, the sort of height of the fear of what was happening. We're sort of like ground zero for where things really got out of control very early on. So I don't know if you remember that time. But
I do remember, and we didn't know how bad things were going to get.
Yeah, so we came up with a lot of creative solutions, and one of the things we did is we asked our fans actually to submit videos of themselves walking around and seeing places in New York City that were usually super busy and full of people traditionally, just totally empty, and just was kind of a fun project in a sense, because we asked for our fans to submit their own creativity to us. And so we got some really interesting stuff in there, like that part of the video where you see the stay safe sign. One of our fans shot that and sent that to us. They also did a time lapse of the city and stuff. So
that's so cool.
A lot of different collaborations with people.
That's a smart idea. I've never heard of that. That's a really smart idea, though, to get everyone hey, send this and we'll put it in there. And then that gets it. Fun. Everybody watches it because they want to see oh, I submitted that.
Yeah. And we also had this fun idea, my partner and I. So those scenes where there's kind of this ominous force chasing me around. We actually attached a GoPro to an RC car, and she chased me around with an RC car is how we got those shots. We put the GoPro on slow-mo, and we're kind of two people that don't have a lot of filmmaking experience, but she came up with this really cool idea, and it looks super professional. It was a really great idea on how to shoot something.
That cool. See, people can now learn from you. That's so funny. I know a lot of people in the industry that are always filming, and it's that's a great idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea, right? And totally worked. So
the FMs have been around for a while, and you and your counterpart, you've been at it since high school.
We've been making music since high school, and then we formed the FMs 3 years ago. So we Frankie and I first were in each other's first band together when we were 15 in high school. We had this stoner rock band called the Violent Orange and made a lot of psychedelic music, and we thought we were really cool in high school and all that. But 3 years ago, as we got a little bit older, we formed the FMs, and we thought it was really interesting. We've always collaborated and enjoyed working on music with each other, but Frankie and I are both people that were born, they were born assigned female at birth. I was born assigned male at birth. And as we became adults and matured later in life, we realized that both of us were genderqueer, and we didn't feel this perfect union with the original gender identity that we were assigned at birth. And so now I identify as non-binary, and Frankie identifies as a trans man. And we thought that it was a really cool thing for us both. We really like how both of our voices sound together to form this band. And so the band itself kind of has a concept to it. And we're sort of looking at gender, both of us coming at gender fluidity, gender queerness, but from sort of opposite angles, and really having this whole conversation about gender being a spectrum as opposed to this binary thing.
And how many times do people come up and ask you what binary means? Is it something that you get a lot?
People ask me what being non-binary means a lot. And, I think that with any of these definitions, because you see a lot of definitions nowadays when people talking about gender identity or, sexual orientation, there's all these new terms.
Right.
And so I think that the kind of important thing, just the way that I look at it, is that, any term, no matter what it is going to have a little bit of a different meaning to different people, right? So for me, non-binary means that I don't feel a particular male or female identity. I sort of feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't really want to, sort of go all in on either gender. I feel more like a gender neutral person. That identity feels best for me, and that term feels best for me. I think if you asked another person who identified as non-binary, they'd probably give you a slightly different answer, and maybe everybody would give you a slightly different answer because the terms mean something a little different to each person, you know? So in a way, we're kind of just like coming up with names that for these things that feel best to us, you know?
Well, it takes us a while as a society to even know. I had my friend Allison Murphy on before, and she talked about her trans daughter, Chloe, committing suicide. And it was at a time when transgender was kind of just forming, where it was becoming more of a popular thing. And then in 10 years, we progressed so much that's like, she always says, like, well, she would have just held on 10 years, she would have had so much more support than she did 10 years ago. So non-binary, do you think that we're going to like be more like in 10 years, right? That's going to be like, we all are going to know what that means, kind of.
I think so. Yeah, I think that the trend certainly seems to be going in that direction. And I'm really sorry for your friend, you know, and her daughter. That's a really terrible thing. I think that in a way, it's nice that we live in a society where these things are now less taboo, but they certainly still are very taboo. It's still very difficult even to grow up as a gay kid, you know, and I think that we've come a long way as a society towards understanding, you know, what that means, towards understanding that it's not like wrong or horrible or bad.
Right. No, I understand.
But even though we've come a long way, there's still a giant stigma attached to that, you know, and even a lot of parents who are, you know, very progressive, you know, and have no problem accepting, you know, having gay friends or, you know, just being really, you know, non-biased towards other gay people, still struggle with that with their children, you know? So there's still a lot of issues that people face growing up, you know, and realizing that their gender identity or their sexual orientation deviates from the norm.
And then even within that culture, there's a lot of subcultures. I know my cousin, Wyatt, he was in USA Today for being a gay Republican. And that's a taboo in and of itself, as you know. So it's like, it's so, we'll keep on evolving and learning. And I love that you guys have this band and you're actually coming on here and you're telling us the difference of like what this means and that you guys all get along and make some good music together.
Yeah. No, thank you. You know, and I think it's like, it's funny because on the one hand, I mean, I'm a very progressive person, you know, but I think at the, you know, at the same time, right, like it's almost nice in a way that people can be like gay Republicans in a sense, because, you know, you don't, as a minority, you don't necessarily want to be pigeonholed to like, all right, this is my only thing that
right.
is like identity about myself, you know? So, I mean, I'm certain I probably would very much disagree with a lot of your cousin's politics and stuff, but at the same time, you know, I think that it's important to recognize that you can have all kinds of gay people. You could have all kinds of trans people. You can have all kinds of, you know, every kind of person, right? So
what kind of feedback do you get from your fans? Because you are a unique band. Do a lot of people say, wow, you really resonate with me, and now I can be myself more because of you guys? What's some of the feedback you guys get?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, the amount of support that I've received from my community in general after coming out as non-binary, after starting to kind of dress more androgynous or more feminine at times, has been really a lot more supportive than it has been antagonistic. And there certainly have been a lot of people that have come up to me and said, you know, wow, I you know, really just so deeply appreciate watching you, you know, come out and really show your true self with your gender identity and all these things. And it's really inspired me to like actually realize that I can tap into that side of myself and that I can like find this joy with expressing that side of myself too. You know, I think that the more times that we see other people doing it and being okay, the safer it feels to people, you know, it just doesn't seem quite as scary anymore to come out and be these things that people want to be.
And so your music is fun because, well, you said it's really dark, and maybe I'm a dark person because when I listened to the songs today, I was like, well, I don't I see what you're saying, but it's like I think I'm just a dark person. But I see like there's a lot of lightness. Your music's really, really good for one.
Thank you.
When in the creative process, when you guys are at the drawing board and you're going through the music, what are some of the things that go through your head when you're creating?
I think that the creative process is always a little different each song, you know. And I think that when you're writing songs, that's a really helpful tool, you know, to maybe one song you'll start out with writing like a poem or writing lyrics, or maybe another song you'll just have the concept, you know, like just the song title, and you'll start with that, and then you'll start building things from there. Other times I've written entire songs, you know, arrangement, music, melody, chords, beat, everything, and I don't have any lyric or any concept of what I'm going to make this song about, you know? So I think that to answer that question best, I would kind of say that I try to change it up a little bit, you know, musically speaking, as best I can, you know, like maybe if I'm writing a song on the bass guitar, you know, then tomorrow I might write a song on the guitar or something, or the day after I might write a song in Ableton. And I think the more I can kind of switch that up, the more it like challenges maybe not challenges, but the more it allows my brain to feel like I'm coming up with fresh ideas, that I'm not just trying to reiterate the same thing over and over again.
So you had described yourself as like a rock synth band, and you mentioned you play the guitar. What are some of all the instruments that you play?
I play guitar and bass and synths and stuff like that, and sing. I'm not a particularly good drummer, but I do program beats and stuff sometimes for our music. Frankie plays guitar and sings. And we have two other members of our band, Lucas Leto, who's this incredible drummer, and Michael Butterly, who plays synths with us on stage, but also is an incredible composer and mixer and masterer and producer in his own right. So yeah, we kind of all do a little bit of different stuff. For some of the recordings, I'll play guitar on some of them. For Silent City, the song that we just played, I was doing the guitar for that song. And then it has a synth bass and drums and vocals. And that one, probably out of most of our music, was a lot more almost all me than a lot of our other songs. You know, this one that we are now doing a music video for, Song X, which is still, you know, unreleased, kind of a, you know, we haven't really talked about it yet, you know, so.
What can you tell us about Song X? Come on.
It even has one of those names, right? It like has like one of those, it sounds like it's like some kind of like secret government project, right? Song X, you know.
Come on, you got to tell us the history about Song X.
So we just went out to LA, actually, which is, you know, traveling is not something that we take lightly right now.
And where do you guys live? Where are you guys based out of?
We're based out of the city, and well, I call it the city. That probably means nothing to the rest of the country. We're based out of New York City. Frankie and I grew up in New York City, and both of us are moving to Ithaca, New York this year. So that's a whole other conversation.
How far away is that?
So we're based on the East Coast. Ithaca's like a 4-hour drive from the city, from New York City. It's where Cornell is. It's this beautiful upstate magical wonderland where, you know, I live 10 minutes away from 100 different waterfalls that I can visit. And there's just a lot of remarkable things about the place. It's kind of probably got more artists and PhDs and musicians per capita than like anywhere else in the country.
That sounds magical. I'm excited. That sounds like an adventure.
Yeah. So it is an adventure. It's a new phase for us. You know, this year I think has been a year of change for a lot of people, you know?
So tell us about Project X.
Yeah, Song X. So we just went out to LA to film a music video with Matt Mahurin, who is, you know, an amazing, he's actually my favorite music video artist in the world. He's literally just such an unbelievable artist.
And tell us some of the music videos
We're
he's
just
done.
crazy excited that we got to work with him. He just did a video for Marilyn Manson called We Are Chaos. He's done a lot of work with Tom Waits. He does a lot of work with U2. I think the first music video he ever did was U2's With or Without You. So he's been around making incredible music videos for a long time. He did a couple of videos for Alice in Chains in the early 90s, who happened to be
I love Alice. I love all these bands.
Yeah, so I could spend a lot of time telling you all the amazing stuff he's done, and he's also an incredible painter and photographer and journalist. So he's just this really incredible multidisciplinary artist. He's not just a filmmaker, and we had this amazing opportunity to go out and work with him. And the Song X was a song that Frankie wrote the lyrics for, and it's really about gender identity and their kind of coming of age with that, and what it felt like to be like that, and how they see other people seeing them, with regards to that. So it's a cool song. The X refers to the chromosome that all genders have in common genetically. So it's kind of a very subtle play at talking about gender neutrality.
So it's kind of like what you guys have been experiencing this whole time put into a song.
Yeah, it is. And it's a really heartfelt song, and we're really excited to be releasing it. I think we're probably going to end up releasing it in February or March. And I think it will be our true breakthrough single.
Wow, that is so incredible. I can't wait. This is going to be fun. What are some of the bands that you've opened up for perform before all this COVID stuff?
We've had a pretty interesting variety of live stuff that we've done. We've done little shows in the city at dive bars. We've done big festivals with like big EDM acts at them. I think Sophie Tucker was the headliner at that EDM festival we did a couple years ago. And we've also, one funny person that we opened up for was Randy Jones of the Village People, the cowboy from the Village People. So that was a lot of fun. It's been really varied. Some of probably my favorite live stuff that we've done were these parties that we produced ourselves called Subvert. And we took over this giant old ferry boat, that was able to fit like 1,000 people on it. And our parties usually had a couple hundred people at them. And we had the bottom level of the ship was all a play party, like a fetish play party. And
nice.
The top level of the ship on the deck on top is where we performed as bands. So during the summer months, we were able to do some pretty cool parties. We had one where we had people doing hook suspensions right in front of our band as we were playing. So it was this really crazy environment, and I really feel like getting to perform in things like that are so much more fun because it really breaks down the fourth wall. You really aren't just, doing a show where you're up on a stage and there's an audience and you're facing them and they're facing you and you perform to them and they watch you. It's a lot more fluid in those kinds of environments, and people are able to get an entire multisensory experience where they're a participant in what's going on. I just think artistically that's so much more interesting.
I want to go to one of those. I've never been to a concert like that experience. This is so cool. It reminds me kind of like my friend DJ Amanda Darling. She gets all dressed up. She does a lot of stuff. She does a lot of EDM songs and everything. And it's like when you're there is an experience, and it sounds so much like you guys put people in a mood. You put them in another world so they could like leave where they are and go straight into like another world. That's really incredible. Is that the goal?
I think that is just so much more interesting to me artistically, to like really put somebody in another world, like you said.
Well, I think coming out of COVID, we're really going to be wanting that even more. So we got to listen to your music. Where can we hear you?
2021 and 2022 are going to be really big years for live music, I think.
Oh, yeah. We won't be able to get enough of it. Where can we listen to your music now? Spotify,
Yeah,
XM.
we're up on Spotify. We should be on all major music platforms. So we're on Apple Music, Spotify, whatever your thing is, we're there. I think we're up on Bandcamp too. But yeah, also we're on YouTube if you want to check out our music videos. You can go to youtube.com/thefms. Follow us on Instagram @thefms. We just made a TikTok, so we're keeping up with the times. We're being one of the cool kids and joined TikTok now. So if you want to find us on TikTok, you can TikTok us. And is that the verb? I don't know. But we're also on Twitter, and we're everywhere. If you Google the FMs, you should be able to find us. And the one thing I would say is that if you're listening to this program and you're kind of curious, it means the absolute world to us that you would go and check us out and be interested in us. Just watching our video, taking the time, it's, we kind of feed off that as artists. We spend so much time and energy and emotional, love putting into this stuff. So it's just means the absolute universe to us when people come and watch us and have an experience to the art that we've created.
Well, this is kind of my kind of music. I love music like this, by the way. Remember the Pet Shop Boys?
Yeah.
There's a tiny bit of that vibe in there. So I'm like, you guys are like the modern day version of it. I was hoping you're okay with that. I was like, it's kind of a little bit more, but way modern, way better. It's hard because it's like you're uncomparable, but you have to compare yourself to something so people know what to compare. What do you get compared to the most?
So it's funny. I think that we're kind of doing it right because I never, ever hear people like say the same thing over and over again. Like I've never heard anyone compare us to the Pet Shop Boys. And I think that's great because like people always have like a new thing that they say, like, so it's just so funny. I think like one time somebody said like, oh, like if Marilyn Manson and Depeche Mode like had a baby or something, or, just all kinds of stuff people have said before, which is an unbelievable compliment. I mean, yeah, we really get a lot of different stuff that people will say we sound like. So it's always so fun to hear what people have to say about that.
That's so funny. What do you think you sound like? Do you have like an idea in your head about what you sound like?
Yeah, I think that all of that stuff is kind of accurate. I think that we have our own sound, but we do sort of live in this dark alternative universe of sort of edgy rock with synthesizers and things like that. So I think kind of the sort of giant looming figure over that whole universe of music is Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. I think that like probably they went on to influence every single like electronic music producer of the 2000s and 2010s. And I definitely get a lot of production influence from them as well. Some of the more like modern kind of newer acts that I really listen to quite a lot are this Danish producer Trent Mahler that I really love.
Trent Mahler. What music do we know that he's done?
He's like not super big, but he's like kind of a little interesting artist. He's done a lot of like electronic stuff. If you went and listened to his Spotify page, you might recognize some of his like more electronic compositions. Another artist that I found this year that I really love is called Mitski that I've really been digging. She kind of definitely, I think there was like one song that I kind of had some of the way that she composes music in mind when I wrote that song. And, there's just a million artists. I think every time I get asked this question, I have somebody kind of new to mention. Vast, this band that not a lot of people have heard of, but I think really underrated. They made a few albums in the late 90s and early 2000s that never really became that successful. But I really love those albums a lot and think I've been really influenced by those as well. And Depeche Mode, I think also is definitely like an influence. Joy Division, Bowie,
it's got to be great to be compared to some of these guys that have been influencing you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think somebody told me the other day that I sound kind of like Billy Idol, but I'm a better singer than him, and I was like, wow, that's I don't know. It was a really nice compliment to receive. I don't know if I believe that, but I definitely thought it was really sweet that somebody told me that.
So you and Frankie, you've been together since high school. Do you guys ever fight or not get along on stuff? I can't imagine having that close of like quarters with someone all the time. Like, how do you guys get over like creative differences?
Yeah, we are very different people, so we've definitely like had more challenging moments throughout our relationship. Um, Even though we kind of have known each other for a long time, I think if you really got to know both of us, you just recognize like how vastly different we are as humans, and even still, I think we had a pretty different upbringing too, and just even our own experiences around gender growing up were different, So there's some things that we share in common. Our love of music is something that we share in common. Our experience growing up being a kind of gender divergent, sexually divergent person was an experience that we sort of shared, but really have, just so many differences. I think that the kind of important thing, like for me, in terms of our relationship that I really try to do is I try to remember that I can't really know what it feels like to be them because they've had just such a different experience in life than me.
Well, it probably makes for really good music too. The fact that you guys are different. So one of you kind of like mellows the other one out or steers in a different direction when you're in the creative process.
Yeah. They're a much better singer than I am too, so that helps.
So you said that there's two other guys. You got a drummer and then another one. When did they come into the group?
We kind of all formed it pretty much around the same time. So, you know, we all sort of came together in 2017 to make this band, the FMs.
And you guys all get along, or is it always you and Frankie and then those two?
Yeah, we all get along for the most part. I think that the most challenging, social dynamics in all of our relationship has been like between Frankie and I at times, but for the most part, we really love each other. And right now our relationship is really great. So that's nice.
I love it. Well, we need to go get your music, support your music, and we're going to follow you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Matt.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. It's been such a blast.
This life isn't waiting for you. On the other side.
Complacency, you know we are, and never could be in the stars. Deepest red, deepest dead. In God we trust, in God we trust. Burn your gas, choke your race. I don't want to, I don't